Well, gentlemen, nice to speak to you today.
Hello.
Hi.
How's your day going?
Good, thank you. Thank you for asking. Uh, this film had several touching scenes, and not to mention Paul and Johnny's scenes, several of them. Which one for the young gentleman can you talk about that touched you the most?
Uh, I think, um, help me out, Jaylin. Let's.
The thing that's touched the most for me, I believe it was the scene where I was alone in the clubhouse and just thinking about saying goodbye to my grandmother. That scene was really tough because, besides Paul, Johnny had his grandmother and he was leaving her. So, that was just a really tough thing, even personally for me. And it was really emotionally challenging just filming those scenes because I knew that it would definitely have like a really touching effect on viewers.
Um, I think for the scenes that Paul and Johnny had together, a really touching scene would probably be a beginning of an end when Paul goes to the clubhouse like at 3 in the morning, and he's like he has this big idea and this big dream, and Johnny also has these big dreams, and they have this wild idea, and I think that's kind of a touching scene.
One of the scenes, one of my highlight scenes was the one in the park where you have Grandpa and Paul at the park. And the dialogue that was discussed there was pretty touching.
Well, yeah, I mean, we had a fantastic, sometimes in movies you get lucky, and in that way we got lucky because I felt that the weather was kind of perfect for the scene. That kind of cloudy, windy day, and it was exactly as scripted. And
40 degrees.
yeah, both you guys were just great in the scene. It was a little bit cold, that's true, but both of them were terrific, and there's a clarity to it, a kind of moral clarity to the scene. And the grandfather is not sentimental with the kid. The grandfather's tough on him. He doesn't say like, "You're so cute, I love you." He's harsh with him, which I thought was a great choice. That was Tony's choice. And that moves me greatly because sometimes to love somebody, you have to be tough. You can't always say like you're the most perfect kid ever. And I always felt that in the movie that Paul deserved a little bit of toughness. That he some ways deserves some punishment. Maybe not the one he got from his dad, but he deserves by he's kind of a little SOB at times. So yeah, I think it has to do with that dynamic.
I think, yeah, that's what I'd like to add on. That's what makes that scene special, is because previously, before that scene, you have all these moments with Anthony, Grandpa Aaron, and Paul, and it's so sweet and touching and nice and genuinely happy. And then you have this changing point where you see it at a tougher side, just like you said,
Yeah, he's not so sweet.
which isn't, like you just said, which isn't at all a bad thing.
Yeah.
Well, after that scene, I was downhill crying for most of the scenes with Anthony Hopkins, the last three scenes. Like that was like what, the third to last? But yeah, I was crying. That connection, that was very, very touching. And I felt closer to the characters as of that moment.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to work. It's not, if you're crying from the very beginning, then it means the story's not working, because it means, who cares? The story, you have to earn it, right? It's like some people say to me, they'll say to me about movies I've done, not necessarily this one, was like, oh, as it got closer to the ending, I started to understand it, and I got more emotional, the ending. It's like, well, movies are not shot in order, as you know, movies are shot out of order. That actually, in a weird way, is a compliment to me, I think, because it means, I take it as a compliment because it means the story is working. If it feels more and more emotional as it goes along, that's the way it's supposed to be, I think. So I'm going to take it as a compliment. How's that?
Well, yes, accept my compliment. You had me in tears. Now, can we talk about the rest of the cast? How did you get Mr. Hopkins and Miss Hathaway?
Um, I simply sent the script to them, and they were, I was lucky enough to have them say they wanted to do it. That's luck, actually, you know. I mean, I'd like to create a narrative where, oh, because of my personal brilliance. No. I sent them the script, they liked it, and I'm fortunate enough to have them be in it. It's one of the weirder, more alchemic parts of the movie process where, you know, you hope the actor responds to what you've written, and sometimes they don't, and you want this actor and they don't like it. Sometimes they do. So in those cases, they just responded to parts in the movie that moved them. And it is pretty much, by the way, as written, the way they performed it. These guys improvised quite a bit, but in their cases, it was pretty close to the script.
So one of the scenes that I found pretty tense, I think we can point out, was the one that took place in the restroom. How draining was that scene for you? Asked Paul.
I think I disagree. I didn't find that scene tense at all. I thought it was very fun that Jaylin and I were able to experience this really new experience, and it was fun and not tense at all. I thought it was great. And yeah, it was a new experience for both Jaylin and I.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. We were laughing. It was the complete opposite. We were laughing, making jokes,
That's what made the scene naturally good, because we were laughing at an old 2017 meme. It was something.
Was it SpongeBob?
You guys were just giggling and giggling.
Something,
But that's okay, right? They're playing the scene. I'm the one who's supposed to have the idea of the tension and all of that, right? They play something else.
Well, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure to speak to you. And people, I'm pretty sure, are going to tear up also and will be touched with the story overall.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.